I am really tired. Well, I'm not really tired, but I am definitely tired. Like, spent a little too much time in front of the computer screen today and yesterday and the day before. Happy weigh-in Wednesday. Pew, pew, pew. I need to find a better name for that. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's exactly what it is, but anyway, so I will go ahead and post my weight right here, and you guys will see. Definitely trending downward over the last 7 days, which is really awesome. Very happy with that. Um, I think my body has kind of adjusted to my macros, and my training has been really good. Um, I've had some really hard training days. A lot of conditioning. Um, like my legs are really sore right now. Yesterday I had to do a 30-minute EMOM, so every minute on the minute, thrusters, and then Russian twists. So for those of you who are not familiar with what thrusters are, I will go ahead and post a video of those right here for you. Right there, right there, right there, right there, guys. I will do that for you, or I'll cut it in. I'm not sure yet. I'll figure that out. Um, so I'm pretty sore today. And then just from sitting, obviously you get stiff from sitting, and I'm not hydrated. I fully admit that as well. So really happy with the way things are going. Happy with my diet right now, trying to incorporate some new stuff into my diet just so I don't get bored. Because that is obviously one of the, I guess, downsides of having been in like a weight loss journey, weight loss mode for now effectively a number of years. I do take diet breaks every once in a while, but just having, some boredom with food and, kind of getting, in a rut with certain things. So I'm, trying some new things, trying some new recipes. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm thinking about maybe doing like cook with me day, or, some recipes, or like, whatever. So probably gonna film another mukbang. It was actually kind of fun. Like, it was a little awkward because like Kitty was like trying to eat my sandwich, so I have to get a little bit of a different setup for that. But I went back and watched that video, and I was like, hey, you know what? This actually isn't that bad, right? Like, I don't necessarily still understand the appeal of like Nikocado, or even Hungry Fat Chick to a specific extent, although I do believe she is actively participating in some kind of fetish stuff, which is fine. That's her choice. She does seem like a very nice girl. And I know that she's been through a lot in her life, and hopefully at some point, she's able to get the help that she needs or wants, and, maybe she can kind of leave that life behind and, and really take care of herself. So, but she does seem like a very sweet girl. So, but yeah, so I thought it was actually kind of cool. It was actually kind of fun. So I did enjoy it. So, I think I will do that again this upcoming Monday, because I think that was a mukbang Monday. So I think I might make that a trend. Anyway, so aside from that, there's a lot of crazy stuff still going on in the world. They are voting, or did vote today, to impeach the president for a second time. That's a PR. Definitely not trying to make light of the situation, but there's some other things that have come out of the events that happened, on the 6th, and then leading up to today, and, with some of the removals of accounts from social media. And I think more than just the president, right, there's been some other things. And then there's kind of this, hypocrisy of, well, why does the Ayatollah of Iran still have an account on Twitter? Donald Trump doesn't, like, why are we allowing, one person who talks out their ass, to have an account, but not another? And so, which I think has kind of led to some broader conversations on the internet about what content should be allowed, right? And I am in the camp of, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I am in the camp of, you kind of got to let it all. Like, it's either all or nothing. Like, you can't decide, what's, not okay versus what is okay. And I know that there are exceptions to that rule. And I know that there have been people that are very controversial. Like, what is that guy's name? Alex Jones. Like, he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. But at the same time, it's like, okay, like, if a private company wants to ban him off their platform, like, that's totally fine, right? But I still think that, like, he does is disgusting as he is, right? He still is granted the right to say, you know, whatever it is he's thinking, right? And again, with exceptions, you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater, like those types of things, right? Like Supreme Court has upheld that, right? So anyway, but it kind of circled back around to the topic of a YouTuber, and a lot of the people that I kind of halfway follow and just really enjoy the reaction channels on. I've mentioned her before as Amber Lynn. I've mentioned Chantel, Foodie Beauty, and Eugenia Cooney. Okay. And, like Amber Lynn and Chantel, especially this week, can be problematic. And, people are saying like, they're literally like killing themselves. Like we're watching them in the throes of their addiction, their food addiction, their binge eating disorders, watching them film, mukbangs or themselves eating on camera, for money. And we're rewarding that behavior, right? Through the clicks, the views, the likes, the dislikes, the subscriptions, the Patreons, like whatever it is they have, right? And there's been some suggestion, although I believe she's denied it, that Foodie Beauty was accepting money from feeders, to eat and film certain things. And it appears that on some occasions that, based on some of the video history, that Amber Lynn Reed may be doing or has done the same thing, and hey, honestly, can you blame them? Like, and I've said this before, like if someone sent me a message and said, I'll give you $2,000 a month, guaranteed if you sit and film yourself eating a pizza or, a sandwich from Jimmy John's or Panera or Chinese food, like you're damn right I probably would, because $2,000 a month for me pays my mortgage and then some, right? That pays $2,000 a month towards my student loan debt, like, that I wouldn't have to deal with. Like that basically would guarantee me in a 5-month time frame, I would have enough, money in the bank to replace all the windows in my condo, and so you can see why it's tempting and it's, and why people do it, right? It's the same thing I think with like Nick Ocado, for example. Like he's a character now. Like he has turned into this character that is Nick Ocado, and one day he's going to leave the character behind. I really truly think he's going to. I think he said he was going to film mukbangs until he's 30. I think he's like 28 or something now, or something, so, and it's just, I don't blame these people. Like, do I think that what they're doing is healthy? No, obviously. Both Amber Lynn and Chantel have had very public struggles with their health. Like, and it's preventable, which I think is what makes people really angry, right? Is that like they are literally doing these things that is creating additional health issues for them that are preventable. And I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, they have a right to do it, and I think I'm in that camp of like, if they want to sit there and stuff themselves or whatever, and I don't think either of them genuinely eat as much as like a Nick Ocado does on camera, right? At least not on camera, where it's a little bit more like tame, right? What they would consider a normal meal or something like that. Like, but if they want to do that, like that's their right, and if you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. Like that's kind of my thing, right? And I understand that people have made money off of reacting to these people, right? So and that's like, and that gets you to look at the reaction, and then you're mad, and then the cycle kind of repeats itself, right? So it's the same thing with Eugenia. Okay. There's a petition right now going around to temporarily ban her, or deplatform her from, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all these things because of her, what appears, I'm not her doctor, I can make an educated assumption though, what appears to be pretty significant anorexia. And it's sad, right, to see her, because honestly, she has like a little bit of a talent, little raw talent there for makeup. She would have a fantastic platform for recovery. She would have a fantastic little makeup artist platform. Like, I mean, like all the things, right? And it's quite sad. But again, she's another one in that camp, just like, Amber Lynn, Chantel, where people fetishize her body, which is not okay and disgusting And I'm not an expert on that at all. Like, I will always disclaimer that, like, I am not a psychologist. Like, I have a degree in, my PhD is in organizational psychology. I'm an expert on the millennial generation. Like, I am not a clinical psychologist. I am not a cognitive behavioral psychologist. Like, I'm none of those things. Like, and so I can't speak to that, beyond just knowing that that's what's happening to her. It's the same thing with Amber Lynn, same thing with Chantel. Like, and so, and you see it, and it's sad, and it's a train wreck, and and she probably is a very nice girl, and I think there's definitely like some kind of weird family dynamic there, which again is fine. That's her own personal business, and people are like, well, why don't her parents, make her go to rehab or get her sectioned? And, different states have different laws. She's currently living in Connecticut. I have no idea what the law is in Connecticut. I know in California, you can go on that 5150 or whatever they did before, but that's, it's not a long-term situation, and that's a forced thing for her, right? Versus it being of her own accord. And so again, it comes down to the money. Like, I think that plays a bigger role here than what people realize. And it's disgusting to think about that she's, not ready to recover or obtain, get to a different point of wellness, right? Whatever that looks like for her, because she's being paid to do certain things on the internet. You guys know what I'm talking about, like moving that box of makeup around. Every time she does it, some guy gives her money. Like, so you have to understand that there's a motivator there for her, and, so there's this, whatever those things are called, I forget what they're called, but, a petition that's out there to try to get the attention of, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, and then, whatever Facebook, whatever platform she's on, to get her temporarily banned, right? So she, her revenue stream is effectively cut off, which in theory, people feel that if they do that will force her into recovery. That is not going to force Eugenia Cooney into recovery. It is going to probably, it may force the other thing. It may make her worse, right? And do I think that a break from social media is good? Yes, but I think it's a good thing for everyone. And kind of coming back to the deplatforming, because she is, like I said, obviously suffering, from some mental health issues and, anorexia, like it's, or something, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if that's what it is, some kind of ED. It's pretty obvious to me, though. It's probably anorexia, but it could be anything. Like, we just don't know that, right? But again, just because she has a platform and people feel that because she has a platform that she somehow has an obligation to live her life in a certain way. And I understand that when you're an influencer and you're being paid, I mean, this girl has millions of followers. Like, I understand that the kind of money she makes, and I'm, her parents are successful. Like, her dad is like, a businessman of some kind. And so I don't think that her parents are using her for the money. Like, I don't think that that's happening. They really would have no need to use her, but who knows, However, I also think that, like, she has, like, I understand she's an influencer. I totally understand that. I understand that because she is an influencer, people feel she has an obligation, to present herself in a certain way. And I get that. And especially to someone like her, she's 26, 27 years old, she's, she appeals to a very young audience, and just like her behavior is very young acting, very juvenile acting. Like, her room, she has like dolls everywhere still. And, and I mean, I shouldn't say too much. I have a teddy bear on my bed in my room that my brother gave me for Christmas in 1987. But I also, if you were to be in my house, you would be like, oh yeah, a 40-year-old woman lives here. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a teenage girl or a 10-year-old, it's not, it doesn't look like that. And, but at the same time, while I understand that influencers are kind of held to this standard of like, well, you need to portray a certain aspect of your life in a certain way, or you need to use your platform to speak out on social justice issues, or, mental health awareness, or, whatever it might be. Eugenia Cooney has a right to live the life that she wants to live and to put it on the internet in any way that she wants. And YouTube agrees with that. Like, they have said to multiple people who have reached out to try to have her deplatformed, at least temporarily, under the guise of like, honey, get off the internet and get treatment. They have said, we do not see her content as problematic. And so there's this, again, we kind of come back to this whole like, who should have a platform and who shouldn't, and if you guys know anything about the Constitution, you understand, First Amendment rights, right? And you might not agree with it, but if you don't agree with it, don't watch it. Like, that's my advice to people, because it's upsetting to people. It is triggering to people. If you're a parent and I don't have children, but if you have a teenage daughter or a young daughter, like, it is your responsibility to make sure that he or she, even a guy, I shouldn't even just say girls, but boys too, right? Because there's a lot of boys that have eating disorders too. Like, if you suspect that they are following Eugenia Cooney on social media, you need to take their fucking phone, and just be like, and block that stuff, because, and I understand you can't control everything all the time, but like, if you feel that that's problematic, you need to educate your children about why, like, you shouldn't support someone like her, and let the chips fall where they may. Like, unfortunately, if it is not against the law to kill yourself, right? And whether that's through taking your own life, whether that's through drug addiction, whether it's through, alcohol addiction, whether it's through eating disorders, like all of those things, like, it, unfortunately, guys, like, it's not against the law. And again, like, Amberlynn, Chantel, Foodie Beauty, Nick, like Nikocado, Hungry Fat Chick, and Eugenia all have the right to portray themselves any way that they want, and they don't need your permission. And like, they don't owe the general public anything. They really don't. And if you don't like it, like I said, don't watch it. If it's bothersome to you, don't watch it. Like, there are certain things that I can watch, and there are certain things that I can't watch, because it's like, I'm repulsed by it, And so like, but I also, like, I monitor my consumption, because like, there are certain things, like, I can't watch Nikocado all the time. I cannot watch the videos of him and Orlin, and their little show thing of domestic violence that they're, whatever it is they're doing, I can't watch that stuff. There's certain, like, I have no issues really with Amberlynn Reid at all. Like, she's pretty tame, but like, I can't watch Chantel all the time, like, it's disgusting, and I'm not saying that she is a disgusting person, although I do have thoughts about her, some things that she said this week, like, I can't, because it's just too over the top, and I can't watch Hungry Fat Chick either. Like, I can listen to her speak, but once she starts eating, I have to click off. Like, I can't watch that. It's just, I can't, and again, I think she's a nice girl. I think she's messed up. Like, right. But again, she has the right to live her life and put it on the internet any way, shape, or form she wants. Right. And so, but Chantel, Foodie Beauty, if you guys didn't know this, she was in a live stream this week, and she made a very inappropriate comment to another YouTuber, or about another YouTuber. And I don't know if the girl was in her live stream, like, she came in to kind of creep on it or what, but she made a comment to this YouTuber who happens to be Jewish, and this girl reacts to Chantel quite a bit, and you could tell that Chantel was obviously agitated and bothered by the mention of this girl, of this other influencer. And she said, if you're going to react to something, and I'm paraphrasing here, you should go react to the Holocaust. And Chantel is probably pretty lucky she lives in Canada right now, because if she was in the United States, I kind of feel like there would be people at her house, because the tensions right now in this country are very high. And that kind of rhetoric is not what we need right now. And, again, I think if she would have been an American in the United States saying that, I'm pretty sure that their people would have found her and probably took care of the problem, and educated her on why she can't say stuff like that. And so, but just an absolute, and then she tried to pretend like she didn't know that this YouTuber is Jewish and, whatever. I was like, bitch, please. Like, you knew exactly what you were saying. And that's not the first time that she said some things that were problematic. She has some homophobic and racist tendencies, comments like she's made. And, so it's a little bit bizarre, but, I don't want to spend too much time on that because it's upsetting, because I'm in the party of everyone deserves respect. Everyone needs to be respected. And I understand that sometimes we say things that we don't mean in reaction. And however, when you're a grown-ass woman, you know how to censor yourself and you know what's appropriate, even in the heat of the moment and when you're annoyed or, whatever it is. So, but anyway, so that's my thoughts right now on kind of the whole petition for Eugenia and like the free speech and the deplatforming. And I think everyone's intentions are good, right? Especially with the Eugenia situation, like they genuinely do care about her. And I get it. It's difficult to look at her. It's difficult to watch her. And, especially when there's just so obviously there's something going on there. Right. And so, but again, I'm not defending it. Like, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm not defending, her actions. Like, I'm not defending her lack of action. Same with Amber Lynn, same with Chantel. Like, I'm not defending it. But at the same time, I do think that we all need to step back for a second and we need to remember that we have a choice in the content we consume. We have the choice whether or not we support someone or not, right? And we also have a choice not to watch at all, right? And then also we have to respect the fact that these people do have a right to live the lives that they have and portray those lives in any way they want. And they don't have to censor or change, their portrayal of themselves, on the internet simply because people find their lifestyles to be bothersome and, problematic. And again, not defending it, but I'm looking at it more from, again, a constitutional right perspective, right? And you can argue with me. You can be like, they would never let a heroin addict, on YouTube, like shoot up on, YouTube. And I can guarantee you right now that if you tried hard enough, you probably could find videos of people overdosing or using recreational drugs on the internet, on YouTube, that you just, you're not aware of necessarily in the moment of what's going on, and YouTube has some pretty liberal policies, I don't mean liberal from a political perspective, but just, like Jacqueline Glenn was saying that, she got, in trouble on Twitch because she filmed herself, and in the video she was making or the live stream she was in, like she had a glass of wine in her hand and they were like, oh, well, you're promoting self-harm by drinking wine. And she's like, what the fuck? Eugenia Cooney has a channel on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can see the hypocrisy in some of it. You can see the problems with some of it, but like with YouTube, they have said multiple times, like, we do not find this content problematic, and they're not going to deplatform her. And also too, she's a commodity to them too, and so you have to understand that this is a business and they make money from her, and she's a big draw, and it's just like a Nikocado or, any of those other huge YouTubers, right, that have hundreds of thousands and millions of followers. Like, of course, they're not going to deplatform them. They're not at all, and then again, you have to kind of draw the line is what would be acceptable then and what's not, and who gets to decide that. And so I think that while I support people who are supportive of Eugenia specifically, or Amberlynn or Chantel or anyone or Nikocado, like seeking some kind of help and getting off YouTube for a while or their social media platforms, I also think that you have to respect the fact that they have a right to live their lives any way that they choose. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. On deck this week, training tomorrow, training Friday. We'll post up again on Friday, just a little end of the week thing. The Packers play on Saturday, so I am trying not to be anxious about that. Please don't fuck it up. It's been so long since we've been to a Super Bowl. But yeah, so looking forward to the weekend, looking forward to continuing to make progress towards my goals. And I hope you are doing the same. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.